Bonjour, greetings. Bonjour to everyone. Greetings to anyone out there watching us. Again, I'm your one and only Lady Marilyne Keto. I understand that today we might be on a little sooner than we usually do, and it's for good reasons. Yes, unforeseen situations that will require me having my guests sooner than I initially thought of it. But again, hey, why not? Why not start good things earlier than we originally planned? Again, Lady Marilyne Keto, go ahead, share this live to a few people. Yes, tell somebody that Lady Marilyne Keto is back on and we want to get blessed. We want to be blessed. Without further ado, I would like to welcome my guests. Okay, some people are wondering who am I? Who are we? We Olive Gospel Ministries. We are Olive Gospel Ministries and we have an album out, King of Kings. And our new song is nothing else than Ozali Musantu on YouTube. Check it out. You'll be blessed. Tell us, can you hear us? I just want to make sure that you can hear us before I can welcome my guest. I don't want to have to go on and on and on. If you can hear me, yes, tell us if you can hear us. If we're clear, I guess we are. I'm just gonna take it as a yes. Yes, yes, I have some feedbacks here. All right, I guess we're good. All right, let me welcome my guest. Hello, hi sister, bonjour.
Bonsoir, comment ça va? How are you?
Très bien. Greetings to you, Sister Diane Go. Some people know you, and others don't. Tell us, who are you?
Well, I am a writer, now
Mm-hmm.
published author. I am a student and I am based in Las Vegas, but I am a transfer student at the University of Arizona State. I am
Okay.
a teacher, and my most important title, I would say, is a child of God.
Oh, that's very deep to identify as a child of God. Not many people are actually able to connect, their identity as a child of God and their other roles in society, like
Yeah.
being a student. Um, I don't know whatever else you do in society. And I noticed that you have a book out. You've published a book out, and it made me tell us
Uh-huh.
a little bit about that book.
I tried to have it in the background. I don't know if you can see it, but here it is. So,
Okay,
Precious.
Christ is, yes, I do see it now. I do. Yes, I do. Tell us about it.
So it's a series, it's a short book, so anyone can read it. You can finish it in a day. It's super
Okay.
short and it has many different stories. Initially, when I first thought about publishing it, there were a lot of stories because I've always been a writer, so there's tons, but I tried to narrow it down to stories I thought were in relation to love. So honestly, it's about self love, it's about finding love, it's about losing love. There are some sad stories in there, but there's, I think, some, deep and thoughtful stories that relate to love in a positive way as well. So,
Hmm.
beginning to the end, there's some type of love theme that is identified with each story.
Interesting. It's not common to have people, especially young people like you, discover just go on this writing business like you have, like becoming a writer, writing books, whatever thought. How did you come about this idea to write?
Well, I've always been a writer. When I think back at it, it's not like I woke up one day and decided, oh, I'm going to publish books, I'm going to write. But I've always kind of been in between. So I'm Congolese, but I came here at a really young age. Um,
Okay.
so I think living at a household, with my traditional African parents and then going to an American school kind of gave me both perspectives. So I never really felt like I fit in. So
Yes.
really, only friend was a journal and a pen. So way before I even had a laptop or anything, I would grab a journal, grab a pen, and just write for hours and hours. So
Mm.
Nowadays everyone types, but even before a computer, I would use my fine motor skills and just write all day. So I never really thought, oh, I'm going to publish a book. But as I got older and read a lot of books myself, all of my beautiful books that I have over here, the more
Mhm.
I read, the more I realized, wow, these authors make me feel really special and I relate to them. So
Okay.
okay, well, if I write books, maybe there's some girl out there, maybe there is some young Congolese girl out there that is able to relate to what I'm going through or what it feels like to be very Americanized and to be African and to hold all these different identities, not just like an American and African, but to hold all these different identities and try to figure yourself out. There's so many authors that were able to do that for me. So
Mhm.
be able to do that for others as well.
I see. That's very well thought of you. That's, I don't know how to say, that's noble and very nice of you to consider giving back, to consider being a source of encouragement and identification for other young people like you who could
Yeah,
be struggling with, a sense of belonging, a sense
absolutely.
of, I want to be part of this. Now, is this writing thing for you as a calling? You feel like it's something you do just out of a leisure, as a leisure activity, or how is it for you?
No, definitely a calling because I mean, even if I try to avoid it, I can't. My mother passed away in September of 2018. And from September through all of 2019, I had the most difficult time writing. And that was the first time ever that I couldn't pick up a pencil or a pen or paper or a laptop and
Hmm.
really write down my thoughts because I had become so numb
Yeah.
that I want to embrace that. I was in a lot of pain. It was the most heartbreak I've ever received in my entire life. So if
Oh.
everyone knew my mom, everyone called her Senkitual, and she was magical and she was amazing. So here
Hmm.
she was gone, and I thought to myself, I'm never gonna write again. My emotions are gone. But
Oh.
somehow, even through prayer, even during rough moments where I didn't particularly want to pray, out
Hmm.
of I didn't. Even through going off of that stage and eventually finding my voice, I had to write. So even if I wanted not to, I think God has told me, hey, you know what? You have these thoughts. And although you might feel lonely, there's a lot of people that feel the same way. So
Hmm.
just put them down. So I would say it's a calling. I can't identify God's voice, and I'm not going to take his name in vain and say that he absolutely told me to do this, but I think it aligns with whatever purpose God has for me in the future.
I see. And how did you discover your writing style? Is it just through your emotions, like through the loss of your mother, or it's through going through different books?
Oh, definitely going through different books. I have one of my favorite authors is J.D. Salinger. And I
Okay.
remember the first time I ever read his book, I was probably in the 10th grade. It was world literature honors. And so our teachers expected high of us. They had high expectations for us. And there was this book that I had to read. I
Yeah.
wish I had it. Oh, I do. I'll show you. So really this book, I give a lot of credit to JD Salinger for helping me find my voice as well, because when I read it, I thought to myself, wow, this guy knows what I'm talking about. This guy has been inside of my brain and he absolutely knows what I'm talking about. Well, obviously that's not the case because this was written in like the 1950s, so I wasn't alive, but it
Yeah.
just goes to show how often we are all in relation to each other. And
Hmm.
so the way I was able to connect with him, I knew that people would be able to connect with my book as well, even though a lot of people actually hated his books. So not everyone likes his style, but that's definitely how I was able to identify, you know what, I write like him, and that's how I'm going to write, whether people like it or not.
Yes, I understand. I see. Now, my main concern was when I was reading your book, when I actually even saw you publishing it, and Papa Chichi that agreed also, who posted about your book. I was wondering what are the challenges you probably went through to find your voice? Did you, like, when you see that book? do you feel like it's the completeness of your thoughts, or is it just like 10% of what you actually intended to write?
Oh, definitely, probably less than 10%. Probably
Less
like
than
like
10%.
5%. Like my thoughts are like I can't sleep at night sometimes, right? So when I wrote this book, like I said, I had so many different stories and I picked some to go inside of this book.
Yes.
So naturally, when I have thoughts, I just write them down and sometimes they become short stories. And so yeah, absolutely, it's not all of my thoughts, and I definitely had challenges. I mean, there was challenges of insecurity. I didn't even know if I wanted to publish this book because I thought that the stories inside of Crushes on Buses was so unique to my personal experience that I was afraid that not everyone would understand it. There's also the challenge of trying to edit a book myself. So before I used to write for an online magazine, and one
Okay.
of the stories that I have inside of there is owned by one of the online magazines. But I remember they had changed my title, they had changed certain wording that they found to be better,
Yes.
which is completely fine. But again, as an author, as a creator, you know,
Yes.
have
You
a
want
specific,
to represent.
yeah,
Yes.
you have a specific way that you do things. So to watch it being altered to how they want it to kind of rubs you the wrong way. And especially now we have social media. I mean, there's so many different resources on how you can be your own creator. So I knew
Mhm.
that resources didn't lack, but I think a lot of it was insecurity and how
Mhm.
to process being professional when I'm still new to this. I mean, it's my
Yeah.
first book that I published. So I look at all these books over here and they all look so professional and they've had so many editors.
Mhm.
And I'm a college student that's also a teacher, that's also newlywed. I don't have
Oh,
$5,000
protection, actually.
yeah, to give to an editor to edit my book. So it was a
Mhm.
lot of time and sacrifice to get it the way I wanted it to look so that it was professional enough to distribute to the world.
Thank you so much for sharing with us this thought. Again, as I was reading, when I saw your book again, it just came to mind that it's often said if you want to hide information from people, especially African Americans or Black, you have to put in a book.
Yeah,
Now, I was like, well, for this young girl to come up with this book, she probably has a good reason why people should be reading. Some people out there don't know why they should read, especially with social media, with all these audio options out there. Now, can
yeah.
you tell us why on earth should someone just sit down, open a book, and read it?
There's a lot of good reasons, but it's reading is just a different way of exercising your brain. Whatever you feed inside of whatever you feed your brain is what you're going to get out of it, right?
Yes.
So there's TV, there's all these. I can't watch scary movies, not because I believe in ghosts, but why would I want to put myself at a place where I can't sleep because I'm afraid that a ghost will show up,
I
or
can relate. I can relate.
watch movies where people are getting slaughtered or this and that. So all I can say is whatever you feed your mind is what you're going to get out of it.
Out of
And
it. Yes.
reading books is a way of exercising your brain. I've learned so much. You know, some people, I mean, of course, people that are younger than me, if you're like 12 years old and you look at me and I'm 27, you're going to be like, oh, she's old. She's been through a lot. Or some people might be in their late 50s or 60s, or be like, this girl is still a child. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Hmm.
To my mom's death, I wouldn't say that I've experienced a whole lot, but the reason why I can identify people's emotions and I am able to converse with people that are way older than me or way younger than me or have that diversity is all because of books. 100%. Books teach you so much information for yourself. It's not to brag to people that you're smart. It's not, but they're enjoyable. You learn so many other experiences that you could have, just breezed through. And
Yes.
you get to be someone else. Once in a while, we want to be other people. We want to
Yes.
go to India, read a book, and that could happen. So simply just to exercise your brain, it's for knowledge. It doesn't have to be my book, even if you don't read Crushes on Buses. Still read a book because reading is very important.
I see what you're saying. I see where you're coming from about, exercising your mind. But again, I would also understand if some other skeptical people might think that some informations are biased. Some history books are just one-sided.
Absolutely.
Now how can we overcome that trap to just have all these brain exercises, but from a wrong origin or perspective?
That's why you have to do your research. Nothing just came out of the blue, right?
Yeah.
So we might be in the same room looking at the same thing, and you might have a completely different perspective. It's not that your opinion or perspective is wrong, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not that mine is wrong either. It's just that they're different. And someone might like the way you describe a story better, and someone else might like the way I describe a story better. So that's
Mm-hmm.
when you do your research. I mean, if you go inside of a library, there's tons of books to choose. There's tons of history books to choose from. So
Yes.
you're limited from choosing from one author, one university, one library. There's so many things that are your style. And if there's something that you think should be out there and is not, then you write it. You read a book, do your research, and then you have your own version and someone can read it.
Interesting. If you don't like anything out there, well, guess what? Write it.
Write
Write
it.
your own book. That's very good, girl. That's really, really good. Now, my main concern is, what did you wish you knew before you got into this book writing journey?
What did I wish I knew before getting in? I
Yeah.
wish I knew that there's even more resources than I thought there was. And
Okay.
I wish I knew that I had done a lot of my research. So my book right now is can only be purchased through Amazon. Um,
Yes.
'Cause I'm an independent writer. But
Mm-hmm.
if I that there's so many other websites, sure, you might spend more money, but there's so many other websites that give you more freedom,
Mm-hmm.
then I would have gone the other route. Not saying that Amazon is bad or anything, but just remember that anyone will try to take your work and take control of your work. So the more freedom you have, the better. So don't, I wish I knew, not that I rushed. I mean, I had thought about this project like 3 years ago. So I definitely didn't rush the writing process, but I
Yes.
definitely wish I knew more about the publishing process of it all.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Really good. So, why would you tell someone who would like to be a writer like you? I mean, you wrote about buses on crashes. Someone probably want to write something else. What would
What
you tell them? Step one. What would they have to do?
Step one is look through your own memories. We all have all these different experiences. Earlier, I was telling my followers on Instagram, you can pick up a pen. That means a lot to you. Think
Mm-hmm.
about why that pen means a lot to you. Even my little kids, even in school, I teach them like how to write, and I tell them, anything can be a story. Anything. You're not limited. The only thing that can limit you is yourself. So you can pick up something as random as a remote, and you can
Mm-hmm.
think about why this remote is special to you, or how you were feeling when you picked up this remote, and you just write it down on paper. The first time you write anything, it's not going to be perfect. And the
Mm-hmm.
goal is not for it to be perfect. The goal is for it to be authentic. The
Yes.
goal is for it to be as honest as possible. That's
Mm-hmm.
why we watch movies. That's why we read, not because people are perfect, but because these stories are so imperfect that we
Yes.
learn from them and we relate to them. So I
Mm-hmm.
would say let go of that fear. And even if something seems so silly to you, still
Mm-hmm.
write it down. You can make it perfect later on, still write it in.
Write it the way it is. Wow. Very, very good. Now, when I read your book, and half of it, uh, it says crashes on buses. So, and then it says that it's a continuation of little stories, small stories. It made me think of Maboke. Is it like, did you get inspired from that? Maboke or Lisolo? Those little
Can
stories we
can
used
you
to have back,
specify what maboke means?
like uh the stories we have back home, like Théâtre Congolais, Théâtre de chez nous, where you
Yeah.
have different stories where you draw like a little mini house, and then over here this is going on here, and then Papa, Mama et les enfants, those little stories. Did you get inspired from that?
I mean, I wouldn't say I got inspired from inspired by any theater. I wouldn't say that. Um,
Okay.
but I knew that I had a lot of stories that I wanted to compile into one piece. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, that's just how I write. Even some of my older books, it has same story, different characters saying different things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I've kind of just enjoyed. I mean, of course, I've had inspiration from different things, and you could probably describe this as maboke. Am I saying it right?
Yes.
From,
Yes, very well.
but yeah.
I see, I see. Well, thank you so much for being with us. I have a question here that I cannot let go. Someone was asking, well, this book is not Christian. It's not gospel. It doesn't say Jesus in it. Why would someone read it if it doesn't say Jesus out loud?
You said Facebook or my book?
No,
Sorry.
your book, your
Oh my,
book. Someone asked me, yeah, your book is not straight up Christian.
yeah,
Like there's
absolutely.
no Bible verses quoted in there. Why
Absolutely.
should anyone read your book? Any Christian, because you consider yourself as Christian. Why should any Christian read your book?
I think any Christian should read my book because I'm I'm a human, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that some of my most Christian acts are done naturally. I don't
Yes.
think that I always have to quote the Bible. I don't think that I have to slam the Bible in people's face or, you know,
Yeah.
acknowledge how much I love Jesus in order for me to love Jesus. I think that people will see Jesus through me in how I write, in how I
Mm-hmm.
serve, and how I communicate with
Very
others.
deep. Mm-hmm.
And even within this book, what you see is a broken-hearted girl. What you see is a girl who is trying to figure herself out. And what
Mm-hmm.
you see is that this girl is just like everyone else, whether I'm bisexual, whether I'm Christian, whether I'm Congolese, whether I'm white, it doesn't matter. But you do see theme of love, and I think that Jesus is, well, not I think, Jesus is literally love.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the series, you see um, how that confidence in Jesus, in God, even shows itself later on. So I think there are definitely themes, but I don't believe in having to quote the Bible or anything like that in order for me
Yes.
to say I'm Christian out loud.
Yes, I definitely agree with you on the side where you say that you bring Jesus in the way you live your life. That book is an expression of how you love Jesus on a daily basis with all the crashes of life. And I feel like if anyone is wondering what can we take from this life, take Jesus where you are, bring him where you are because you're supposed to be his temple. Maybe for you, Mrs. Diane, it's the book writing and reading. I'm sure some other people have maybe baking, I don't know, cooking, cleaning. You probably have another gift that I feel like you just need to polish it, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, you just need to be polished and then, well, serve God with what you have. I wanted to receive you as well because, it's March. March is the month consecrated to women. And I thought that you did something very amazing by coming up with your book. And I just wanted to celebrate my first Woman of the Month. So, yay! Well, to you. Well, to you, and thank you so much for inspiring more than a person here, such as Papa Patitsatsa, who thinks that he can believe that he's getting educated by you. And he's getting
Oh,
old.
I love him. He's the
Yes,
best.
yes. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing your testimony and your book with us. But again, there's someone who's inspired by what you're saying, or it feels like you. They don't belong neither to the Congolese community nor to the American community or to other people from other cultures. We from Congo, you're probably from another culture. You don't feel like you belong to the origin. I mean, the authentic, the ones who came from back home versus those who are here, so you like somewhere there. And you probably don't feel why you should receive Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. Now, Mrs. Diane, what can you tell to someone who feels that way? Why should they receive Jesus?
Um, Well, I mean, I definitely believe that receiving Jesus is a personal choice. So I can never force anyone or try
Okay.
to sell or advertise why someone has to receive Jesus. I think that Jesus comes to everyone at different points in their life. But
Yeah.
what I can say is that Jesus will meet you wherever you are. And it
Yes.
doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't
Yes.
it doesn't matter if you think that you're completely, wrecked. It doesn't matter what judgments people have placed upon you.
Mm-hmm.
When you decide that, you know what, I'd like to give Jesus a try, he will be there, regardless of who you are.
Very deep, very deep. Someone is ready. Someone is definitely ready to receive that Jesus. But again, they don't know how to go about it, what to say to that Jesus. Can you help them take those baby steps and allow me to interpret in French?
You want me to tell them steps on how they can receive Jesus?
Yes, can you pray with them? Something that they can do with you because they're ready to receive Jesus right now.
I think they can pray to Jesus however they would like to pray to Jesus. I think
Mm-hmm.
the conversation between a person and Jesus is personal. Um,
Yes.
so I personally don't believe in altar calls, but I would definitely encourage them to just get on their knees or sit down, however they feel comfortable.
Encourage de vous agenouiller ou vous asseoir comme bon vous semble.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes. No, I'm just interpreting as you. Keep
for work
going.
meetings, so I do have to go.
No problem. Thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate you being with us today. Um, Until we meet again, that was Mrs. Diane. She has to go to a work meeting. Again, to all those who are watching us, as Mrs. Diane was saying, it's a personal choice. We won't force you to receive Jesus. Jesus himself doesn't force himself on you. But again, it's in your best interest to receive him. If you hear the call, please receive him. If you're ready to receive him, just repeat after me. Jesus Christ, I recognize you as my Lord and Savior, and I'm ready to walk with you. Hold my hand and lead me with your spirit. In the name of Jesus. Amen. Please get a church, and it will be good for you to grow. If you need some suggestions, please call us. And also, don't forget to support Mrs. Diane. She has a book out. Just type on Amazon, Crashes on Buses. It will be good for you. Good for your brains. Yes, it will help you out. Until we meet again later today with Novo Mandela and on taxes. Bye.